There are 9 kinds of people in a billionaire's orbit. From the outside, it all looks like the same fairy tale. But the closer you get to the center, the less it looks like a dream, and the more it looks like a trap. Stay until level 9 because the man worth $52 billion has everything money can buy, except the one thing every single level below him still has. Let's climb. You're a second cousin who happens to share a last name with someone worth $14 billion. You've met him exactly twice. Once at a funeral where you complimented his watch, said, "Nice piece," and a man in a gray suit gently relocated you 3 feet to the left. You're an assistant manager at a hardware store. You drive a 2014 sedan with a check engine light you've emotionally made peace with. Your biggest splurge is buying the good ground beef instead of the gray kind. Then a genealogy account maps your family tree on TikTok, and overnight your DMs fill with crypto bros, aspiring influencers, and a guy named Dustin who's raising for something big. LinkedIn requests pour in, "Hey, saw we're practically family and would love to pick your brain." 3 people you haven't spoken to since high school suddenly remember you owe them money. And every spring, a check for $9,200 arrives from a foundation you've never heard of, memo line blank. It pays off your cards every year you've never once been able to say thank you. Because there's no return address, and what would you even write? You married in 4 years ago. The little place upstate turned out to have a name, a boathouse, and a chef named Marco, who knew you hated cilantro before you'd said a single word. Your welcome to the family gift had a bow on it and 4 wheels. Your credit card has no limit, but anything over $7,500 pings the family office for tracking. You vacation at hotels where one night costs more than your old rent for a year. But you're in the family, not the group chat. Conversations soften when you walk in. Decisions get made in rooms you weren't invited to. You once tried to pick up a dinner check and the waiter physically would not bring it to you. And the prenup you signed has a reputation clause, meaning you can embarrass yourself, just never the name. Do that and you walk out with exactly what you walked in with. You grew up in the same house, same boarding school, same overpriced summer camps. You remember when your brother cried for a week because he didn't get the right horse for his birthday. Now he's worth $19 billion. You're worth $12 million, which makes you wealthier than 99.9% of the planet. And still somehow the one who didn't quite make it at Thanksgiving. You built a clean energy company. It's profitable. It employs 140 real people. But every article about you opens with the words "brother of," and your success gets quietly filed under family connections instead of the 12 years you actually put in. Every couple of years he offers to buy your company, casually, the way you'd offer someone a ride home. The number is generous. Saying yes would mean admitting you couldn't do it alone. You've said no 4 times. Each no costs you a night of sleep. You drop your kids at the same school his attend. His arrive in a chauffeured SUV with a second car behind it. Yours sit in the carpool line with you. It's a tiny thing, until you catch the other parents trying to work out which brother you are. You met at 7, roommates in college. You were the best man at his wedding, back when his big idea sounded like a polite way of saying he'd never get a real job. You told him to give it up. He still tells that story at every dinner. Your worst advice, framed like a trophy. You're invited to everything. The island, the box seats, New Year's at his place every single year. But you're consulted on nothing that matters. When you brought him your cousin's coffee company, his assistant booked you a 20-minute intro call, like you were a stranger working off a script. He pays for dinner every time because the number means nothing to him, which means you never get to pay him back. Not once in 20 years. You love him. You're grateful. And some nights, you're quietly furious about it, all in the same breath. You're 17, and your biggest problem is that your followers keep asking why you don't post more luxury. Your life is already richer than anything in those comments. Your school costs more than most houses, but so does everyone's, so it feels normal, right up until you talk to someone from outside the bubble. Your 16th birthday leaked to a gossip blog. The car and the artist who performed, whose name you legally can't say. The comments called you spoiled, ungrateful, and worse. Thousands of strangers by name. Your therapist, who specializes in legacy families, says that's normal. Your college applications are run by consultants. Your nonprofit was incorporated by the Family Foundation in an afternoon. And you can't date. The last person you trusted screenshotted your texts and sold them. That's how you learned that trust is the one luxury the money can't actually buy you. You met him when he was only worth 400 million, and you ran a respected firm of your own. You thought you understood money. You understood a number. This was a different language entirely. Your wedding ran in a magazine. The flowers alone cost more than most weddings. Now you give away $80 million a year through a foundation, and your calendar is run by someone with an MBA who out-earns a federal judge. People assume your life is effortless. They don't see that every outfit becomes a headline about inequality, every cause you back gets read for hidden motives, and every time your husband posts something reckless online, you're the one on the phone calming donors at midnight. Your real peers, yeah, the handful of people on Earth who understand this exact weight, you could fit them around one table. You're 29 and you run the family's investment arm. $3 billion across 180 companies. Stanford MBA, 2 years at a bank first, just to prove you could survive without the name. Now you fund the returns that fund everything else. Your day starts at 5 with calls to Singapore and ends at midnight reading pitch decks from founders who think your surname is a pre-approved yes. You've passed on companies that became rockets and backed ones that detonated. Every call second-guessed by people who've known you since you were in a stroller. The press covers your portfolio like a tabloid. The wins get credited to your name. The losses get filed under nepotism. And your actual record, the thing you bled for, disappears somewhere in the middle. You're 36, and everyone in the building knows you're being groomed to take over. You present the quarterly numbers to analysts who still remember you as the intern who got the coffee order wrong. This isn't just a company. It's a legacy tied to the livelihoods of hundreds of thousands of people, built from nothing by a man whose track record you get measured against in every meeting. The press is watching for the first sign you're not worthy of it. Activist investors are openly asking whether family control is good for shareholders at all. You work 90-hour weeks. You haven't taken a real vacation in 5 years. Your marriage survived, barely, because your spouse knew the deal going in. Your kids see you on Sundays if you're not on a plane. And they're already showing the first quiet signs of the pressure that comes with being born into the fourth generation of all this. You're 70 years old and worth $52 billion. You've built companies that employ 600,000 people. You've funded research that bent the course of an entire industry. There's a hospital wing with your name on it. Presidents call you for advice. Your sentences move markets. And none of it solved the quiet. Your children are brilliant, and they live their whole lives in the shadow of yours. Your spouse runs the public face of the empire while you run the strategy. And you can't remember the last conversation between you that wasn't about work, the family, or the next headline. You're not a person anymore. You're an institution. Your name will outlive you by a century. Late at night, in the study, looking down at a city you partly built, you think about the other version. The smaller one. The one where people said your first name and actually meant it. Where dinner didn't need a security advance. Where someone could love you without a lawyer in the room. But that fork in the road was 40 years ago, and every level below, you the cousin, the in-law, the brother, the friend, the kid, the spouse, the ones still doing the work, every one of them still has the thing you traded away first. A normal Tuesday. So here's the real question. Knowing all 9 levels, knowing the cousin cashing a quiet check, and the man at the top who can't have a quiet life, which level would you actually choose?